Hello, there we go. All right. Not too bad. All right. You know what? I am going to just get my notes moved because I have multiple notes here. So this is going to be part 2 of my initial changes I'd like to see in Dead by Daylight. I had it done originally, like I went through it for, it was about 3.5 hours, I think. And then what ended up happening was the damn thing cut out at random, and I'm missing like the last portion of the video I recorded. So what I decided to do, and I wanted to first go over and kind of review what I had seen before, or like what I'd done before and what I'd talked about, and also to pick up where I left off, which I will get to momentarily. But I wanted to get everything redone. So, well, not redone as in the entire video, but everything redone as far as what was cut off. So, with that in mind here, I'm just trying to make sure my audio is working. So,
make sure my audio is working.
Yes, it is. Okay, I can hear it, and I'm sure you can too. And I just want to get now... I just want to get my notes because it's creating like a lot of glare. And when I recorded it last time, it didn't matter because I was recording on the laptop. But now that I'm not, it's not cooperating. Yes. All right. And I will just get my notes off of there right now, because I was going to just read the notes and have the camera here, but like there's a lot of white light going in my face because the screen is so bright. So I'm just going to tweak that right now so that we don't have to suffer with hopefully we can slightly improve the image quality here, which is what's important. And I decided I'm going to stream it this way because the game is streaming. Obviously, you can see the Dead by Daylight, background here. And I can, whoa, I was moving my screen around. Can I enlarge it, maybe? If I can enlarge the picture, too, that would be kind of cool, right? Let's see, what's this? Overlay options. Can I not make it bigger? Camera options? No. Whatever. Okay, fine. Who cares? Not important. I was going to see if I could make the picture bigger, but, I guess in the end I'll throw somebody up here for us here. There we go. Oh. Why isn't he should be centered, right? That would make more sense. I mean, I guess you get the perks and everything over there, but whatever. Okay, so there's Freddy. He'll keep you company. And so anyway, as I was saying, I want to get into what I was discussing last time and finish all my thoughts on that so that we can just see, see an end to this. There we go. And that way you can watch both parts of the stream together. It's broken up into 2 separate streams, but at least the whole thing will be present now. And I'm going to have to move the camera while I do this. Whew. All right, put that down there. All right. Yeah, so... so... at the end of the last stream, where it literally cuts out, and that looks like it's crooked. Sorry, I'm being a bit of a weirdo perfectionist all of a sudden, but, And see, there's my little Minecraft doggy. All right. glass over here. There we go. All right, so basically, like I said, I'm going to continue my stream discussing the things I had gone over last time, and now I'll just finish up on all the different things we had discussed. So one of the last things we had discussed in the video, I was talking about the basement hooks. And what I had stated, I'll kind of give it a recap because, like I said, it cut off. So the basement hooks, I wanted to change up the way the basement is in Dead by Daylight. So what happens is, if you go down into the basement as it is now, everybody knows the layout. It's always the same. The hooks are always positioned in the same spot. The staircase goes down in the same direction, the same path. You go down the first flight of stairs, there's a little, step. You turn to your left, 3 more stairs, then you're in the basement. There's 2 lockers ahead of you, and then the hooks are directly to your left. Everybody knows the layout. That's always been the way it is, and it hasn't changed. So what I would say is move the basement hooks. Take the basement hooks off out of the center. Hang hooks on the walls. Hang hooks in the corners, whatever. Hang them from the ceiling. Why the hell not? It's a basement. It can hold it. And mix it up so that when a survivor goes into the basement, they don't know what to expect where a hook is, other than the fact that, usually you can see your friend on a hook, obviously. So you might see where one of the hooks is, but you don't know where the others are. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. And you could still mix it up. Have 2 hooks on the wall and 2 hooks in the center, like where the traditional hooks would stand, but only have it as 2 hooks hanging instead of 4. Just do things like that. Mix it up so that everybody who goes in the basement, you don't know what you're walking into. And that's kind of the biggest thing that to instill a fear factor with the basement would be to create a basement that you don't know what you're walking into. And as I said, change the shape. Have a basement that's like L-shaped. You go down the stairs, there's a small little area, but then you have to walk around a corner and go to the right, and then the rest of the basement is just a straight wedge, down the to the right. Anything. Mix it up, make it different. If you're on a certain level, like the one McMillan Farm, right, where the basement hooks is sometimes inside the mine shaft, actually have it just be a mine shaft. Don't have it be the traditional basement hooks. Have an area where you go down into it, and then you just have the basement hooks in a part of the mine shaft. Like, break it up, make it new, make it different, and that's how you can, keep things more interesting. And you could do that with every map. Every map does not have to have the exact same basement hooks. And so there's no reason to keep it that way. Just mix it all up. Also, I had discussed that it should be darkness in the basement, like all the time, because you're underground, you're in a basement, and it doesn't really make sense that there's light coming through the walls and things when you're underground. Like I have a window in my basement, but it's, a window. It's not just some slat walls with sunlight coming through, at ground level. It's above ground because it's half and half, right? These basement hooks are underground, so there's no reason to have light. So make it dark in the basement, but not pitch black. Like I had said in the last video, have it like the Dredge's darkness. When nightfall happens and the survivors, you can't really see all that far. You're practically blind for the most part. Have the basement like that for everybody's, killer included. So nobody can really see in the basement all that well, but it was like I said in that video, if it's maybe using the same nightfall as the Dredge's darkness, maybe the Dredge by default can just see in the dark because, that's the way he functions, and maybe he'd be the one killer who can just see perfectly crystal clear in the basement, unlike other killers. That's just a way to, again, spruce it up and make one character have a trait that just stands out differently from the others. And, again, spice the game up, because now you're walking into a basement, it's pitch black, you can't see around, you don't know if the Dredge or, the Huntress is hiding in the corner, because they could be insidious camping, so there's no heartbeat, and the person on the hook, they can't see more than 2 feet ahead of them anyway, because again, Dredge darkness, so they can't see anything, they can't tell you if the killer's still there. And then, your friends have to come down into the basement. As I had said in the previous video, I am very apprehensive going into a basement to rescue people because I am terrible at outmaneuvering killers. And if I go into the basement, the last thing I want to hear is the terror radio coming, because I'm like, great, now I'm probably going to end up on a hook too. this would greatly increase the fear factor of going into a basement. And then on top of that, you can add extra functionality to flashlights, because now your friend can go in there and he can, he actually has to make a gamble, because you know how people love their flashlight stuns on the killer. Well, now it's like, well, maybe I have to look around with the flashlight to see in the dark to find my friend, to find my way around the basement hooks. Anything to make it, a new mechanic for an already existing tool, right? All you can get is a win out of it, because it's more usage. Maybe they decide, you know what, I need to save this flashlight for the killer stun. I'm going to fumble around in the dark. Killer comes down the stairs. Now everybody's in the dark. Nobody can really see where the other people are. You've got the killer swinging around in the dark trying to find, because like I said, only the Dredge can see. So if the Huntress gets down there, she can't see any better than the survivors can. She knows where the person is on the hook as well. She's running around swinging in the dark trying to chop people up. She's throwing hatchets around. You're in the dark. You can hear hatchets flying by, but you can't necessarily see where the hell they are. Everybody's like, it's such a clusterfuck of a situation, and nobody would know what to do with it. It could be crazy. It's the sort of video you just want to, you maybe want to see it, but you can't. It's black as hell, but you can't look away. I think it would just be interesting. Again, spice the game up. Also, to get back into one of the original topics of the last video, one of the major factors was improving the fear factor in the game. And this would improve the fear factor in the game. I know it would for me, because if I'm in the dark and I can hear the Huntress throwing hatchets, or I hear Bubba revving his chainsaw, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be scared, man. I don't want to die down in the basement with that. So I'm going to be freaking out, and so is anybody else. So that's a big thing to take into consideration, right? You don't want to fumble around too long in the dark, but at the same time, maybe it'll protect you. Normally the killer goes down into the basement with you. Someone's probably going to go down or take a hook. So now you throw the darkness into it, that maybe the killer just swings and misses the entire time. Maybe the killer gets lucky and hacks into all of you. You just, it would really make basement rescues a lot more entertaining and a lot more dangerous and scary, at least in my opinion. And it's as I stated at the start of the last video. Disagree with what I'm saying? Absolutely, if you don't agree. But as I encouraged at the start of the last video, don't say no, this idea will never work. Come up with solutions for my ideas and why they would work. Come up with something clever. Explain, well, this isn't a particularly good idea, but this is why it would work. And now that I think about it, that picture in the corner is probably going to block anyone who's posting in the chat. So, because the chat also goes in that corner because of the thing. So I'm going to move that screen over. Yeah, that's the... actually, maybe I'll just move the chat. Yeah, I'll move the chat, actually. Top left. Let's pop the chat over there. There we go. Now if anybody's talking, it should pop up over there for me. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, you want to increase the fear factor of the game, and if you guys disagree with my ideas, absolutely disagree. I mean, honestly, I don't care. It's not like I don't work for behavior or anything, so there's not like me saying these things makes it a reality for anybody. So, but instead of, saying, no, these are the things that won't work, because that's a lot of the problem. That's the main problem you hear. Like, whenever a new mechanic comes out for the game, everyone's like, well, this isn't going to work, and it's going to break the game in this way and that. Well, I'm saying come up with solutions for my random crazy ideas and help mold them into ideas that would work. Because ultimately, as I said in the last video, if behavior ever saw any of our ideas that we're throwing around, and rather than us, leaving them as broken ideas, if we can work up the game mechanics in such a way to complement these new ideas, and behavior liked it, I mean, it'd be kind of flattering to see anybody's ideas. It wouldn't have to be mine. It could be anybody's ideas for stuff put into the game, because if it's a good idea, it's a good idea. And if we've all hashed it out and worked out the bugs for it, behavior can look at that and they could agree and say, you know what, they worked out all the flaws that we can see, let's give it a try. I mean, everything's worth a try because, again, let's add to the longevity of the game. You know, we all win if the game lasts longer and has more content for us. So let's do it, right? So yeah, I would change up the basements, make them dark, make them, you know, break off in different directions. Don't have one flat layout for the basement. Just break it up and have them all different. Keep it real, keep it entertaining, keep it different. The unexpected is the best thing that can happen in a game like this. Something new that we're not expecting. And also the fact that the way that I was referring to with the fears earlier, sorry, I kind of lost that train of thought. But by adding darkness to the basement and all these things, we are contributing to the fear factor of the basement. As I would have stated in the other video, basements in and of themselves are usually a point of apprehension for most people. When I grew up in a house, we had an unfinished basement and it was creepy as hell. There was one light bulb literally in the center of this gigantic room, and it gave off enough light to sort of like go around this like small area directly around you, like very short radius, and everything else was just black. So it was creepy. You didn't want to be down there. You had to go into the darkness, fumble around to find the string to pull it. And even once you're down there, it's kind of like, well, what do you want to do down there anyway? It's just an empty, black, dark dungeon, basically. So, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. I know a lot of people feel that way about basements. That's why I'm in my basement right now, but when I bought the house, it had to be fully finished because I don't want to sit in a dark, creepy-ass basement. And so I got a place that's finished, and now it just feels like another room of the house. But, this room here and the basement hook room in Dead by Daylight look a lot different. And not just because of the blood. But, you get the idea. So basements, I think, create a lot of tension for people as it is. And when you get throwing the darkness into there, some people do not like to be in the dark. And so you add the darkness, the basement fear factor, and you're adding the unknown elements because now the layout has changed. That's like 3 separate ways that you're contributing to a building fear factor for an area of the map. And that's just one room, right? One tiny little basement room as it is now. If you can create up the fear factor on that one room that much, think of all the other ways that you could tweak other places on already existing maps to make them more terrifying and more frightening. In Resident Evil 2, here's something else just off the top of my head. In Resident Evil 2, when you're walking down the hallway, the zombie arms come through and grab you from outside of the building. They do come through at other places, but this is literally just a jump scare. They reach out and they grab you. And in Dead by Daylight, I've gone by that same area, and you can hear the zombies right outside the window. So why not have that, where the zombies literally can reach in and just grab the survivor? Whether you're in a chase or not, you could just get grabbed by the zombies through the window. I guarantee you, if they put that in the game and didn't tell anybody, can you imagine how many people on YouTube and Twitch and whatever else would suddenly be like, I got grabbed by zombies in the RP, they reached through the wall and the slats in the window and they grabbed me and they were trying to pull me out. People would freak the hell out because you're not expecting it. And those are the best kinds of things you can do to contribute to fear. Absolutely, just like I stated in the last video, you throw a customer on the hook. It was disturbing the first 10 times it happened, but after that it got, you become desensitized to it because it's just, it's another day, it's another hook. Same with, anything in the game, like the Huntress. As I stated, first time I played the game, she was the second killer I ever faced, and all I heard was her creepy lullaby being hummed as she got closer and closer, and I just had no idea what the hell was happening, but it was really creepy and disturbing. And it was really creepy and disturbing for the longest time. It isn't anymore because, again, you just desensitized to it. But these are the sorts of things they could throw in there to just sort of up the ante, keep the fear factor going in. And even though after it's happened to you a couple times when you're going through there, you'll be like, okay, well, first of all, most people will stick to the wall and not get close to it. Because in Resident Evil, it was like that. You could stay against the wall and the zombies couldn't get you. But if you got too close, that was when they came out and tried to grab you. So you could just stay away from the edge of the wall. But not everybody's going to do that, especially new players. So now I want you to add into the fact that a killer is chasing you through the RPD. You run past that window, and the zombies grab you. Now you're panicking, trying to get them off of you and get away because the killer's like, oh, great, I was getting away from the killer really good, but now I'm held up because these stupid dickheads are grabbing me through the window. These are the sorts of things that would just contribute so much to the already existing gameplay. Just the little touches sometimes is all it can take to spice things up a bit. And that's a way that, again, you could improve one small little area of the RPD, not even the whole building, just that one spot. And there's how many other spots in RPD where there's perfectly great areas where you could add all kinds of things like that to just freak people the hell out. So, yeah, there's that. Now, after we've discussed the basement hooks in the previous video, I discussed new killers I'd want to see, new types of game mechanics, such as, banishment mode, where we would, find artifacts on a character's map, like the Yamaoka estate. The spirit would be there, or the Oni would be there. And if you ever look around the maps and actually look at the maps sometimes, you'll see that there's, the Oni's mask is on a display in the one place. Things like that. There's all kinds of little Easter eggs, as people would call it, all over the place, hinting to the lore and the stories. And some of these characters have very deep stories. So why not go around the Yamaoka estate gathering artifacts from the spirit and, doing this banishment/exorcism thing to destroy the spirit. And that's the end game instead of fixing gens, right? You could do that. You could also just have a trial mode. Why not have a mode where the killer's trying to kill people and the survivors have to pop as many gens as they can before the killer kills them all? Because I've been in games as a killer and I can wipe people out before they fix one gen. I've also been in games as the killer where they fix every gen and I get maybe 2 hooks and not even on the same person. And then they escape. So imagine that group of people who can fix 5 gens without being killed, but just put them into a level and say, okay, you got to fix all of these gens. Just keep fixing them. Boom, boom, boom. And add gens. There's how many gens on a map? There's 5, 6, 7. I think there's 8 gens on a map at the start of a map. So why not throw in 12 gens or 20 gens? And sure, you'd have gens that are fairly close to each other, but at the same time, you could expand maps, make them a little bigger for that, or just create new maps altogether. Again, new maps is always a good thing for everybody, and just have lots of generators on there, and just have the killer going around trying to murder everybody as fast as they can, and maybe give them Amori, because how when they have, Rancor, the obsession, make it apply to everybody, kind of like a Devour Hope. If you get to the second hook state, the killer can just mori you, because you want the killer to be able to kill the survivors as fast, and you want the survivors to be gen rushing as fast as they can. And if you have lots of generators around, the killer's not really going to have time to kick gens, so it becomes more about the kills. So you kind of have to balance that in some way. So that's why I would think just give them the ability to mori somebody if they've been hooked a couple times. But yeah, force the survivors to just fix generators, and there's no escaping. It's just boom, boom. How many gens can we fix? Can you imagine the leaderboards for that? You would see some amazing teams going through Dead by Daylight trying to hit 20 gens before they're all killed. Things like that, right? I think it would be crazy to see how good teams really could do generators nonstop in a map where they could just pop the gens. Or maybe they pop the gens and then, because you wouldn't even have to necessarily add extra generators now that I think about it. Have them fix the 5 generators and then all the generators just break down and you can start all over again. That way you don't even have to make bigger maps or add generators to the map. But just these sorts of things, keep it going and just see how crazy the teams could get gen rushing. I think you get some crazy results out of a game like that. You would have killers learning to kill people as fast as they can to prevent them from getting the higher score, and meanwhile you'd have these other leaderboard type gen rush squads who would be just learning how to do nothing but gen rush. And I think that would be crazy to see the results of that. I think you could probably get teams easily hitting 20 generators before they get wiped out. And I think that would be amazing to witness, as well as to play on, because it'd be fun. Why not? It's a challenge for everybody, right? Yeah, so that'd be something. I would also, so that's an additional gameplay style that I was just thinking of since the last video cut out. I didn't mention it last time. I mentioned the Exorcism Banishment mode. I didn't mention this one, which is why I wanted to throw it in here now, because why the hell not? I've thought of it since then. So now moving along, what we're going to discuss now is, of course, something that's very big and important for a lot of people, and that is the issue of trolling. Because we all hate trolling, right? And we all have our opinions on trolling and what is and what isn't, and whether or not trolling even is trolling because it's gameplay and it's, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we're not going to debate what specific things are 100%, and none of the points I'm going to make here are set in stone 100% trolling. What I did was I tried to find the elements that are the most talked about and the most commonly considered to be trolling, and I got them in here. Killer and Survivor, again, like I said in the last time, no favoritism. I play Killer, I play Survivor. I prefer playing Killer, but I still play Survivor quite a bit with all my friends, and so I have, I've seen how the cookie crumbles on both sides of things, and so that's why we're gonna look at both sides of it. So what we'll do this time, we'll start with the killers. What do killers do that is trolling? And the best way I think to define something that is trolling in a video game is if you're doing an action repeatedly that doesn't serve any purpose to furthering the game, the way the game is supposed to be played. For example, you can a killer who hits on the hook. This is the first point. A killer who hits a survivor on the hook, you're not furthering their progression on the hook. Like, they're not going to die faster on the hook because you're hitting them. They're not going to, lose an additional health state. You're not going to unhook them and they're going to fall on the ground in the dying state again because they took that whole extra hit. Like, none of that's going to happen because hitting them on the hook has no functionality in the game. You're not earning points or anything. So that's why people would consider that trolling, especially when they're standing there. And I've had it happen to me. I'm a killer, and I'll actually admit to something. When I first started out as killer, I used to hit people on hook because I thought it would speed it up. I really didn't know the game. Like, I literally threw people on hook, and I was like hitting them because I could see their friends coming, so I'm like whacking them, like, die faster! And I don't know why I thought. Maybe I was under the impression that it helped, but now that I've looked back on that, I'm always like, oh god. I do feel bad looking back on some of the things you do as when you're a new player. I'm like, damn, I was kind of bad at that. I shouldn't have done that, but you didn't know, right? And now that I, played the game long enough, almost a year now, I can say, okay, yeah, this serves no functionality. If you're just sitting there hitting the person repeatedly, I had one Bubba rev his chainsaw, and he did the whole chainsaw sweep non-stop on me while I was on the hook. He face camped me, and it's like those are trolling things because those don't further my hook state. They're just there to rile me up as a player and a person. And I freaking laugh my ass off because it's like, you know what, dude, hit me on the hook all you want. My friends are gen rushing while you're doing this, so I'm winning. But if we want to combat this, and that's what this whole point of this next thing we're going to be discussing is, how do we stop people from doing this? Well, the problem is you can't stop people from doing these things because they have there's no deterrent to stop them from doing so. Even if somebody gets banned, which hitting someone on hook will not get you banned, even if somebody gets their account banned, it's 48 hours, then the next ban is like a week, and then it's like a month or something, and then it's permanent after that. So even if someone was hitting you on hook and ended up for some reason getting banned, it's only for 48 hours, and they're going to be right back in hitting the next person on the hook. So the only way you're going to combat and stop them from doing this is you have to make it undesirable for them to do it. It has to affect their game in a negative way, because hitting me on the hook, if I'm on the hook and they're chopping at me, their gameplay isn't being disturbed or whatever in any way, only mine is. So the way you combat it is, it has to affect their gameplay. It has to have a negative consequence for them in-game. So, here's my suggestions. You may agree, you may not, like I've always said. Disagree if you like, think I'm crazy. But realistically, these are probably the only ways you would stop it because, again, getting banned from the game isn't going to happen, so you have to have something in-game happen to them to completely dissuade them. So what I do, what I would suggest is if a killer hits a survivor on the hook, they have a 50% chance of being knocked completely free. And that, just like the 4%, and you might say, well, that's a 50-50 chance. Most people be like, well, I'll take the one hit and then I'll just tunnel the person down. We're going to talk about tunneling as well. Yes, I know, blah, blah, blah. But so 50% chance. You hit that person on the hook, you probably get them off. You potentially get them off the hook. If they get off the hook, they experience borrowed time and sprint burst. Even if they don't have the perk, they get that sprint burst bonus times 2. So not borrowed time times 2, they just get regular borrowed time, but the sprint burst is times 2. Sprint burst I have seen people use, and they can get pretty far away with sprint burst, okay? Now if you times that by 2 and borrowed time, they're going to be freaking gone, okay? They're gonna come off that hook and they're going to bolt. Even if you smack them again on the way by and your Bubba is swinging his chainsaw, Bubba's not going to keep up. They're gone, okay? They're going to be heading for the horizon. And you might say, well, okay, that's pretty extreme. It is extreme, but it's a very good deterrent. If a face camper, Bubba, puts someone on the hook and then runs the risk of hitting them on the hook because they're being a dick, and they have a very good chance of popping off and clearing half the map to get away. Like, imagine being on Coldwind Farm and they just book it into the cornfield and you're swinging your chainsaw trying to keep up. Like, you're not going to get them. There's so many places to go, right? Or RPD, doorways, whatever. They can run. Yeah, you can chase them down again, but you're going to work really hard for it. And the tunneling thing will come into, when we discuss that, we'll play into this as well. But for now, we'll just discuss this. So that's going to be a hell of a deterrent first and foremost. If you run the risk of freeing this survivor, like if a survivor's been taunting you the entire time and you finally down them, the 5th gen just popped it, but you finally caught this one miserable little bugger who's been driving you crazy the whole time, you finally got them on the hook and you want to just wail on them because you're frustrated, you're not going to wail on them if you know damn well hitting them will probably knock that same trolling, insidious little jerk off the hook and start the whole thing all over again, especially if he can get away first. It's very much not worth the risk. Second of all, 50% chance of hitting him. So that means if you hit him, well, maybe nothing happens. Well, if nothing happens and they don't get knocked off the hook, you as the killer transfer 2,000 blood points of your own into that survivor. So, boom. 2,000 blood point bonus to the survivor on the hook. Because here's the thing, the survivor on the hook is usually the big complaint. Yeah, it's really fun when I join a game, I get thrown onto a hook, and then I gotta sit there being face camped, and I don't get to play, so they disconnect, because that's another big thing is people say people disconnect when they're being face camped, and it's like, well, why would you want to sit there? You want to just get out, go play another match, right? So this is the way that it's actually beneficial to you to get face camped, especially if they're hitting you on the hook. Because now he's hitting you and he's transferring you 2,000 blood points. And that's not some chump change either. 2,000 blood points can be a lot. So if he hits you a couple times, let alone the Bubba doing the chainsaw sweep like he did to me, every hit's 2,000 points. How many chainsaw swings does Bubba have? He's got a lot. It's like, what? 2 or 3 chainsaw swings per token. So it's like, what, 3 tokens times 2? I mean, that's at least, I would say it's at least 9, 12, maybe 12 hits with the chainsaw. What's 12 times 2,000? That's a lot of blood points. That's literally a match, more than a match. A good match with no bonuses. That's more than that. okay, just for getting hooked and hit a bunch of times on the hook. You would have that many blood points added to you, which is very beneficial to you as a survivor. I wouldn't complain. Frick, you'd have people asking to be thrown on the hook and chopped up while they're on there, just so they can get the points. And you might say, well, how does the killer transfer the points if they don't? Let's say the match just started, Bubba chainsaws the guy, throws him on the hook, so he's only been hit once. Bubba doesn't have 2,000 blood points. Bubba will go into the negative hit points. And so, or into the negative blood points. And as long as he's hitting, his blood points keep dropping, okay? And that's where you sort of get the trade-off. It's like, well, the killer is going to say, well, I'm not getting any blood points for this match because I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to face camp him and I'm going to hit him and my blood points are going to go down, and that's fine because the match will end and I'll just go in and do it again. Well, first of all, every time he hits you, you're going to get the 2,000 points, and eventually you're going to get your 50% chance of getting the unhook and escaping. So you got a whole bunch of points for your trouble, and you escaped. Now, Bubba is in the negatives because let's say he hit you 4 times, so that's like 8,000 blood points, right? Bubba's at negative 8,000, just for the sake of argument. Yeah, he got points for hooking you, but we'll throw that all out. Let's just say he's at negative 8,000 blood points right now. When the match ends and he doesn't have that, it will deduct it from his blood point pool on his profile. Like right now, you're looking at my gameplay. I mean, on my boxes in the corner, you see my shards, but you know I have blood points back there. I got like 100,000. So you take those 8,000 blood points that he's in the hole away from that blood point pool. If his blood point pool gets to 0, then it goes into the negatives. And you might say, well, that is like ridiculous. That's extreme. Well, that's how you stop it, because we're trying to stop bad behavior in a game. Hitting people on the hook serves no function towards gameplay. Absolutely none. That's why people do it, because they can, first and foremost. There's no punishment for it. And this, what I have suggested, sounding extreme, but it's a very good deterrent simply because it messes the game up for them. As soon as they start getting into the negative blood points and they can no longer prestige characters, they're going to start to take notice, because eventually they have to buy those add-ons to add to their thing. Yeah, Bubba doesn't need to have add-ons to use his chainsaw like a prick, but at the same time, they will feel the pinch. Eventually, they may want to play, and the loss of the blood points will definitely cripple that. They're not going to be able to prestige. They're not going to be able to rank up because they keep screwing around. And that is how you affect a player. That's how you hit them. You hit them where it hurts. So they don't get banned, but their character greatly loses out on experience. And experience, blood points are a huge part of what makes Dead by Daylight work. Without the blood points, you're not going to keep buying all those. Myers isn't going to have his tombstone add-ons or his, the frickin' scratched mirror, if he doesn't have any blood points left to buy those add-ons for. So that's where you hit them. You hit them where it hurts. And for a troll, there's not many places you can hit them except in ways that affect their gameplay. So let them hit you. You'll farm points every time they hit you, or you'll escape because of them. You won't need to be unhooked by your teammates. They just get a clean break. And then that brings us to the next point, which is the face camping. Because you might say, well, the killer doesn't have to hit you on the hook, he'll just face camp you. But at the same time, what you would do in this circumstance is Bubba throws you on the hook, he doesn't hit you, so there's no chance of you getting the 50% escape, there's no chance of him feeding you blood points, because, he's just face camping instead, which is also toxic. But at the same time, he can't be punished for doing it. There's nothing to dissuade him from face camping. So now what you have to do, very similar to the last point, blood points from the killer have to bleed out into the survivor who is on the hook, if they are face camping. So I don't know exactly what the range is for because in-game they say everything's like meters. It's like you have to be within 10 meters of this and that and whatever. So let's, for the sake of argument, just start with this and say 10-meter range. If a killer is within 10-meter range of a survivor who is on a hook, they are bleeding their blood points constantly, let's say 500 a second or something, into that survivor that's on the hook. And you might say, well, okay, so now they're losing blood points, but if the killer doesn't care about the loss of blood points, this still doesn't solve the problem. Well, now we're going to get into the next part. Bubba, face camping is always one of the hugest things, or any killer, really. I mean, I've been camped by Ghostface. So what I would suggest is you have to drain the killer's charges for their secondary special abilities. So Bubba, if he's within the range, not only is he bleeding blood points, he's also bleeding out his charges for his chainsaw. Because we all know that's why Bubba face camps, because anybody gets close, he throws the chainsaw up and he takes everybody out. But if his chainsaw charges are going down, so he's only got his little whack-a-mole hammer, well, what the hell good is it? He literally, his face camping dynamic has literally been taken away. He cannot do it because he does not have his chainsaw. And that's the reason Bubba does it. That's why Bubba leads with the chainsaw swipe when he's face camping, not with his hammer. Because if he had to use his hammer, he wouldn't do it. He would have to go find somebody else. So to eliminate the face camping, you bleed your blood points. If 10 meters is still too close, then you could expand that a little further. I would probably test it myself. I think 10 meters is actually a fair distance away, because I know like Nurses Calling, I tested that out with my friend in a custom match when I first tried using it to sort of see how far away he had to be, because it says like 22 meters or something like that. And it seemed like it was a fair, like, reasonable amount of distance. So what I would suggest is, yeah, you just do that. Have the killer have to be far enough away. And even if Bubba is that far away and he tries throwing his chainsaw attack in, he has to get very close. And chances are by the time Bubba is in, the survivor is going for the unhook and Bubba starts charging in order to still have his chainsaw revved and everything by the time he gets there, you'll probably have more than enough time to get away. Especially when you get unhooked and you get the the speed bonus and everything. So that's that. Now what I'm going to comment on in the same vein of everything is, well, what if you're the killer and you're not face camping? Because this has happened to me recently. You throw someone on a hook and the other 3 survivors are already there coming for the unhook. I had one standing behind me crouching, so I couldn't back up. I had one on the left, so I couldn't move to the left, and then the other one came around the side to unhook where I couldn't reach him because the other 2 boxed me in. And you might say, well, what if that's what happens and you're not face camping? It's not fair that you lose blood points, etc., etc. If you, as the killer, are beside the hook and the survivors are within the range to unhook somebody from said hook, all of these, the bleed out for the thing, the loss of charges, all that stops instantly. So Bubba has to stay out of the range in order to keep his charges, to keep his blood points from going to the survivor, all that stuff. But the second a survivor gets into the safe zone, but all rules are cut off because Bubba has to be allowed to protect and go after somebody. But we're just trying to cut back on the face camping. We're trying to encourage him to leave and go do something else, or if he's going to face camp, he has to do it from such a range that it's not really worth the effort. So that's what we're going for. But, like I said, if you just happen to throw him on the hook, because I had that with the Freddy match recently, I got him to the hook, threw on the hook, and the other 3 just popped out of the freaking holes in the ground and started hitting me with flashlights and flashbangs trying to rescue this person. And I had to hack them all down on the spot. So when that happens, these rules do not apply to you, because when you as a killer are beside a hook and a person and the other survivors are all within range, it's not camping at that point, it's hook defense. And if the survivors don't like the fact that you just hooked and they want to immediately get that unhook, they can bugger off out of the range. They can wait for you to bleed out your blood points or hit the survivor and let them loose, or wait for you to leave. Because if you don't want to lose your blood points, one of two things. You're going to chase one of them the hell out of the distance. Yeah, they're going to get the unhook, but whatever. You're chasing after this other person because you're trying to prevent your loss of blood points and everything else. I mean, after all, because you're totally not camping, right? So you have no reason to stay there and just chase the one person. So they have the choice. They can literally stand out and watch you bleed away your points, or they can wait for you to come out of the area and, then they can go for their save. But if they go for the save, despite you waiting, they're still going to be in danger because you're going to be close enough to get in there and do some damage potentially. But the whole face camping with the chainsaw thing, I think you would see that disappear for the most part, all based on the range that the killer would have to be to drain their charges. Because, like I said, I've been camped by Ghostface, actually probably more than Bubba, surprisingly. I know most people complain about Bubba face camping, and I've seen Bubba face camping, and I've been Bubba face camped, but I think Ghostface surprisingly has camped me more than others. They throw me on the hook, and then it's like they stand right beside me. And I think if you sucked out their ability to cloak themselves and all that other stuff while they stood there, they're not going to do it. They're literally not going to do it because you're taking a major gameplay mechanic away from them, and they don't want to lose that because that's all part of why they're playing said character. So you take that. Imagine if the nurse couldn't blink because she was face camping, and she lost her blinks. She's the slowest character in the game. What would she even do? If you ran in there, took the hit, got the unhook, and you all bolted, she can't blink. What the hell is she going to do? She's not going to come after you. She's going to float along at like 3 feet an hour trying to catch up, and by the time she gets her blinks back, you guys are freaking gone, man. So you just make it not worth doing. And now to get into the tunneling aspect of things, so because face camping and all these things are kind of very linked together, if you tunnel the survivor, so you throw them on the hook, the killer has a 120-second cooldown once they are on hook. So Bubba throws me on the hook, and then he leaves because he doesn't want to lose points. And then my friend comes, she unhooks me. I now have 120 seconds a cooldown. I can still be rehooked, but if I'm thrown on a hook again in that 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes, and a lot can happen in 2 minutes, one generator takes 90 seconds. And if you have just you being tunneled and you're running away and your other 3 friends are doing generators in that time, in 2 minutes, that's a lot of gens that can be completed, okay? While he's tunneling you. So if he catches you before the 120 and then he throws you on the hook, they get no blood points or acknowledgement that the second hook has taken place. You still go to your second hook state. That still functions normally, but the killer gets no hook rewards for your being hooked. And if you die, they get no credit as for you being killed. So you might say, well, that's kind of like not really all that great. Well, partially true, but as a killer, if you start taking away people's kills, you're going to decimate their match because, yeah, maybe he wants to tunnel you because you're the only player he got down. I mean, there's matches, where you do chase people, you can't catch anybody, and you finally get someone on their second hook, and the last gen is popped. Then the 3 of them come and they mount a rescue. Yeah, you're not going to attack the 3 healthy ones. You're going to go for the only kill you can potentially get, which is tunneling this person who was just unhooked. Maybe you get him, maybe you don't. And for a killer to lose that kill would actually be really bad. You lose a lot out of your match for that, especially if you hadn't hooked really anybody else the entire match. You're only looking at piddly points for that match, and to take away the major earning, which would be the hooks, you're basically just shooting yourself in the foot. And again, the rule could be said, well, the guy may not care about it. They're just in there for, the tunneling and causing grief. Well, they're not getting any rewards for it. And you could step it up like the last ones and say, well, if he does tunnel the person and he throws them on the hook for the second hook state, all the points that they earned through you as a player, like blood points, just goes to the survivor because you are getting tunneled, and it does suck. And like I've been tunneled out of matches right at the beginning. I one of my last matches I played, I got face camped by a Wesker in the first. I was the first one he found. He found me about 20, 30 seconds into the match, and he caught me. He killed me. He put me on the hook, and then he sat there and he face camped me. And anyone who came close, he chased them away or he cut them down and he slugged them. So I was dead. And I had gotten 30% on a generator before he found me. So my points were like 4,000 or 5,000, I think. That was it for the match. But if you're going to add into the fact that he was face camping me and all those blood points would be coming to me, I would have made like a bandit for doing nothing in the match. And that would have helped me a lot. It wouldn't have been such a just me sitting there like, playing on my phone waiting to die, because I'd have been like, ooh, look at those points growing. And then, yeah, I would have died in the first few minutes, the first 2 minutes of the match, but at the same time, I would have gotten paid out for blood points like I had been in it the entire time. So that's the kind of, that's the trade-off, right? Make it beneficial to the survivors to be hit on hook, face camped, tunneled, all of that stuff. If you make it more beneficial that the person you're calling a troll, if you make it beneficial for yourself, which is what all of these do, these are very against the killer because that's what they're supposed to be. That's how you dissuade them from doing the trolling, the acts that you claim to be trolling. Is you make it not worth their effort. You make it completely a ridiculous amount of a waste of their time, and you benefit on the other side of that. You benefit the person who's being, quote, victimized by the troll by rewarding them for their piss poor game, because it's like I said, I got 4,000 points in that match with Wesker, and that pissed me off because it was like, well, it would have been nice to have gotten 10,000 even. Anything but 4,000, right? But I wasn't allowed to because that's just the way that guy decided he wanted to play, and he decided the outcome of my match because I was the first one he caught. So you make it beneficial to me more than it is to him for doing that, and he's not going to do it. He won't. So that's the only way you can combat it. The only other way that the tunneling, the 120-second cooldown and everything does not apply to a survivor is if they use, say, Deliverance, or the 4%, and they kick off the hook and save themselves. Then they do not have the 120-second cooldown. The killer can then take them out and rehook them without suffering the negative consequences of that. Because, you unhook, I hook you and I walk around the corner and then I hear you pop yourself off the hook and run. Nobody saved you. There's nobody else there for me to go for. You're the only one there. It's only fair that I get to take your ass back out and throw you back on the hook. So that's, again, kind of the trade-off thing that you're looking at. So now we're going to get into survivor stuff. And survivor things are kind of like... Well, let's just get into it, because I also have some end game changes I would like to recommend, and these ones here, some of the survivor things play into the end game changes as well. So we'll discuss some of those and sort of see how it all, changes up things. But bear with me, and I think you'll understand where I'm going with it. So... The biggest problem that the survivors we hear about complaining is the survivors is the teabagging, of course. And most people say, well, it's a game thing. You can crouch in the game. Any game people can crouch, people are going to teabag. That's just the way it goes. And so we all been there as a killer. They slam the pallet, even if it doesn't hit you, and the first thing they're doing is they're just doing their squats, like, mile a minute, click, 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 and they're just teabagging away like crazy. And that would be considered trolling because it's not furthering gameplay. The purpose of the game is to repair generators, avoid the killer, open the exit gates, and then escape. unhook survivors who got caught, heal survivors, etc. Those are the gameplay mechanics. Nowhere in the gameplay does doing rapid squats improve generator progress or totems or healing or anything. It serves nothing. And again, that's why it would be considered trolling, because you're not furthering the game. Gen rushing isn't trolling. That's being good at what you're doing and fixing your generators, completing your tasks, and getting the hell out. That's not a troll move, okay? But slamming pallets and then standing there teabagging the entire time, or clicking flashlights, which you can't do anymore because they slowed it down because of epilepsy, which absolutely. But I know a lot of people are just like, well, you're not going to be flash clicking it at us anymore to be a jerk either. Because I had that a lot too. There's games where I started as a killer and the person with the flashlight saw me and then they're like, click, 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 and they just start clicking because it's like, oh, come get me, right? Yeah, it's the same thing here. I would have actually had an alternative where if they clicked a flashlight too fast, they could actually pop the bulb and break the flashlight. That would have been really funny, actually. That would have been a way to combat that, but any rate, as teabagging has no purpose, but crouching does, I would have it that if any person, because Ghostface can crouch, right? So what I would do is, and I've been teabagged by Ghostface, so what I would do is I would have it that if you click the teabag, you click your crouch button too many times, it'll have a random result where you literally crouch and then you're stuck in that position. It's like the age-old saying, it's like if you make a weird funny face, like bleh, and somebody slaps you on the back, your face will get stuck that way forever. Well, if they teabag, then they get stuck in the crouch position until they help fix a gen, they heal somebody, they heal themselves, they break or start a boon totem, or get hit by the killer. And I guarantee you, teabagging will disappear overnight. Because the second a person is stuck in a crouch position, they're not going to loop a killer, they're not going to run. Even if I run Urban Evasion, and I can guarantee you that if I get stuck in the crouch position, even in Urban Evasion, you're not going to outrun the killer. The killer will run you down so much faster. And you're going to eat a down or a hook for it. Nobody's going to do that. Teabagging will disappear overnight. Absolutely. And you might say, well, that's just ridiculous. Teabagging doesn't hurt anyone. Well, it may not hurt you if you're the one who's doing it. I mean, obviously the people who do it are the ones who say, well, it doesn't hurt anyone. Well, it doesn't hurt anyone, but it's not furthering the game either. The only reason you do it is to antagonize another person. That's it. That's the only reason. And I mean, yeah, you could justify it by saying, well, whenever somebody heals me, we do the teabag thing to say thank you. Yeah, I do that too, to say thanks when they heal me. It's like, crouch, crouch, crouch. Or, you want to be healed, you run up beside the person, you just like teabag me. It's like, hey, help me, help me. Yeah, for sure. But chances are, if you walk up to me and you're bleeding out your ass because, Freddy just took a chunk out of you, I know I have to heal you, okay? Whether you do the teabag motion or not, I'm going to heal you, okay? And if I don't heal you, it's not going to be because you didn't teabag. It's going to be because I was being a dick. So to say that you need to be able to do it is absurd. Anytime you want to crouch in the game, press and hold the trigger. I've never seen anybody who went into crouch mode by doing it rapidly up and down a few times and then going into the crouch. You just pull the trigger and you hold it down and you go. So don't try and justify it. It's stupid, it's childish, and this is the fix for it. This is what would get rid of it. You would get frozen, you get stuck in the crouch position, and if you don't have Urban Evasion, you're going to be even slower. You're not leaving scratch marks. You can hide, but you're still screwed, because when that killer finds you, you're not going to be able to get away, and if you're already hurt, that's going to be even worse. So I guarantee you nobody's going to be dropping a pallet and teabagging you afterwards, because they're basically just giving themselves to you at that point. So that's how you break that habit. And that's what it is. It's just a habit. When you're at the exit gate, you don't have to teabag. You already won. Just get the hell out. I know that killer was mean and the Bubba face camped me until I died and you're my friend and you're pissed, but you don't need to teabag. Just get out. The fact that you got out is a slap in the face to them, or enough for as big a slap in the face as they need. Okay? So don't teabag. This also blends into the, as I said, endgame. If you've ever played Killer, you know for a fact once the exit gates are open and you're nowhere near it, all of them are still there. And you can sit there and you can just watch the meter go down almost to, the end. And these people, it's like they're still on the map for some reason. They could leave, but they're not going to. Why? Because they're waiting for the killer to come to the exit gate so they can teabag and they can gesture and posture and do whatever they want before they leave. So that's a troll move. It is. I mean, it's downright. The whole purpose of the end game, once you open the exit gate, is to leave the match. And if you don't understand that, put on a custom match, go against the bots, let them fix the generators, and then see what they do afterwards. I guarantee you they will not be popping down pallets near the exit gate and sliding over them rapidly, making a huge explosion over and over again to get your attention or to mock you. If they're the last bot on the map, I guarantee you they will not be sitting on the open, the hatch, teabagging, waiting for you to come. They won't be doing that. It's really crazy. The bots will pop the last generator, they will go to the exit gate, they'll power the exit gate will open, and they will all leave. They will literally just walk off the map. Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the point. Okay? That's the whole point of the game. And to combat them not leaving, well, as I was harsh with the killers earlier, now we're going to be harsh with the survivors. So you have to make it not worth a survivor's life to be there anymore. Look at a horror movie like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on any horror movie, really, Jaws. Okay? In the last act of the movie, the body count grows very rapidly. Okay, people are going to die really fast, and like if you have a group of like 6 or 7 people left by the end of a horror movie and the killer gets into the house where they're all hanging out, there's going to be a huge fight. Multiple people are going to be killed really fast by the killer, and then you're going to have your one person have their final moment, escape or kill the killer, whatever, right? And you can't kill the killer in Dead by Daylight, so that only leaves escaping. So basically, I've always wondered, even when I first started Dead by Daylight, whenever the exit gate opened, I always left. I just ran out because I was like, the gate's open, and I was just thrilled to be alive. And I would just book it the hell out, and I'd be gone, and my friends would be sitting there healing each other and teabagging and whatever. And I always thought it was kind of weird that the killer can literally walk up to anybody in that area and be powerless. And that's why survivors do it. The survivors know once the exit gate is fully open and they are standing at that exit, they are untouchable. Doesn't matter if you down them, they just fall through the black fucking spikes, and they're perfectly safe and they crawl to safety. So what I would have to counter that, because again, them being there waiting, like, I understand you want to heal each other and get the points and whatever, but the end game shouldn't be for that. Because first of all, the end game doesn't start until they power the exit gate, right? Which is another thing we'll get into. But as it stands now, I would have it that if a survivor is downed in the exit gate area, they die. It's literally, it doesn't matter if you fall across the out of bounds area. You could even make it, because you know how the killer can't go through there? The killer gets close and the stuff blocks the killer, but the survivors can escape. What I would do even is if the killer gets in that range and that shit pops up, the survivors can't go through it either, as long as the killer's standing there, even if they're crawling. And you're going to see that shit cut out pretty fucking quick. If the killer can walk in there and one hit fucking down you, and you just bleed out instantly and you're fucking dead, you're not going to fuck around in that area. You're going to pop that gate and you're going to get the fuck out. Because you're not going to risk that son of a bitch, whoever it is, coming in there, downing you if you've never been hooked the entire match, and you're going to get iridescent tear, and then you get fucking killed because you stayed at the exit gate too long to be a cocky shit. That's going to stop happening immediately. And again, people are going to say, "Oh, that's absurd." No, like, no. I was like, well, let me honestly ask you, how often do you stay in that area with the killer not there, with the exit gate open? And if the answer is a lot, well, my question is, why can't you just leave then? Because if you just leave, you don't have to worry about it. You're not going to die. You're not going to suffer. Maybe you don't get to heal the Meg in the group before you leave and get that extra, 500 points or whatever the hell it would be for completing a healing action on someone. But what's more important, completing the healing action or escaping with your life? You're going to get more for escaping with your life, I'm pretty sure, than you will for patching up Meg at the exit gate. Just fucking leave. That's the whole point. Because people don't really understand that once the 5th generator pops, that is when the end game starts, okay? And yeah, when you pull the lever and the thing pops open and the world starts decaying or whatever, most people consider that to be the end game, but it's not. When the generators pop, the exits, they're unlocked. It's time to leave. The game's over. It's time to leave. Doesn't matter how many people are dead, how many people are alive. It's time to leave the match, get it over with, and get into our next one. And to stick around, running around the map, being dicks and being cocky, and as the killer, I've had it happen. And they run around and they come find you and they're running around making noise and, you hit them and then they just dash away and then they escape because they're like, oh, you couldn't kill us, so we're going to torment you some more now. It's not serving any purpose other than to be a troll. So that's why you have to make it absolutely not worth their hassle to do it. You endanger their lives, and they're not going to do it. I've had games where, as a killer, people teabagged in the thing, and I ignored them. I just left, and I went around breaking, because usually whenever people are doing that, I'll break pallets, I'll break doors and all the breakables, because you earn points for all that. So it's just a way to farm some points while you're waiting, because there's nothing else to do. I can go stand there, but then they're just going to, point and teabag and do whatever, and I'm not getting any points for doing that. So I'm just going to go earn points, right? It makes sense. So they come back into the map to start teabagging. They were dropping pallets and sliding around, wanting me to chase them. And one of my more recent matches, I was running Demogorgon, I think it was, who's new with that killer, and I decided to run Noed. Well, they all got to the exit gate. I killed one of them. The other 3 got to the exit gate. And I knew they escaped, so I was like, whatever. So I just started breaking stuff because I knew I wasn't going to get them in time because the gate was already... By the time I put the last person on the hook, they had popped the gate. And the person died on hook, so I was like, okay, they're escaped, right? They were the farthest away from me. Well, they decided to come into the map because they were going to be so funny and they're running around. But because I didn't down her before the end thing, the NOED hadn't activated, so they didn't know I had it, right? And they came back into the map, and they were running around, and they were sliding around, and the one girl came really close, and she teabagged. And boom! Down she went in one hit. Then suddenly, Buddy, who was sliding around the thing, saw this and kind of realized, holy shit. He fucking booked it for that exit, and I chased him down. And the other one, who was over near the exit gate watching everything, didn't want to get as close as the other 2. It was kind of like the one, the friend you can sort of see, who's always like, come on, guys, let's just go. They were, like, waiting over there. Well, they saw me, they saw the friend go down, and you get the notification when NOED activates. And so they all fucking knew. It's like, okay, he's playing for fucking keeps now. I chased down the guy who was running on the path. Well, she went down by the thing. She was far from the freaking exit gate because I was. And they only opened one gate. So she's down, she's bleeding out, she's trying to crawl for the exit gate in a stupid-ass attempt. He was booking it for the exit gate, and I ran him down, and I caught him in the exit gate area, and I downed his ass too. And the third one, who stayed close to the gate the whole time, well, they fucking left. They knew I was going to catch their friend. Didn't matter if he had dead hard or nothing. His ass was going down as soon as I caught him. And I did. I caught him, threw his ass on the hook that was not too far outside the exit gate. Could see her crawling, grabbed her, threw her, ended up a 3K, would have only been a 1K. Why? Because they stayed. They didn't have to stay, but their cockiness got them killed. Don't do it. When the gates are open, you should leave. That's when the game ends. And that's also, of course, when the trolling starts, because... if you think about it, there's no punishment for remaining in the game after the thing opens. The only reason that they actually will leave is because the end game collapse will kill them when the meter runs out, right? That's why that meter exists, is to cause an ending to the match. Once the exit gate is powered, the devs are telling you, okay, the game will match will end in set amount of, what is it, like 2 minutes or something that the end game collapses? I don't really know. But that's your time to leave the game and get to the next one. Not run around in the map, not go around popping boons and sliding around on pallets, trying to irritate a killer who, lost to you. Just leave. But people don't do it. Why? Because much like face camping and tunneling, there's no negative repercussion to a survivor to remain in the map after the endgame collapse has started, aside from, leaving before the timer runs out. So that's why I'm saying we have to boost first of all, the endgame collapse, and this is another thing that I was going to discuss. First of all, when a fifth generator is popped, the endgame collapse should just start, not when the lever is thrown. And the reason being is because we all know that fifth generator being done means nothing to the killer as far as the exit gates are concerned, because the endgame collapse exists to help the killer out. It does. In the end, it's to rush people to get the hell out of the match or die if you don't get out by the certain amount. That's why the killer doesn't die from the endgame collapse, but the survivors do. So, because everybody exploits the game mechanic by 99%ing the exit gate lever, you have to cut that out, and you have to get the in-game collapse started as soon as the fifth generator lights. And again, it cuts back to the point I made about watching the movie. When the end of the movie happens, that's when the killer is the most dangerous, they're the most powerful. That's why when you always see kind of the cliche thing where, the killer goes like, I don't know, Super Saiyan and becomes all crazy powerful, and, it's always at the very end of the movie, right? It's never at the beginning, it's always at the end. So when the fifth generator lights, that is the curtain call. That is okay, this is going to end now, whether we escape or not. This is the beginning of the end. And that is why the end timer needs to start the countdown, because that's going to convince people to get the fuck off the map. End of story. People will not have time to run around and teabag and rescue people from hooks and do all this extra healing. Lord knows you can still do it in the amount of time that's on the thing. But I guarantee you, by adding the pressure of having to get the doors themselves opened, you're going to cut back on everything else. Because it takes, 40 seconds now to open a exit gate? That is a lot of time in the endgame collapse. And you can balance it by making the endgame collapse longer, because you're starting it sooner now, right? Like, let's say I popped the last gen just a few minutes before. Hey, Cassie! Sorry about that. So, as I was saying, by popping the endgame collapse sooner, you're forcing the survivors to have to commit to opening fully the exit gates and getting the hell off the map, because they're going to have lost so much time already just potentially getting the gates open that they're not going to have time to screw around and do all the little, totally legitimate things that they need to do on the map once the in-game collapse started. Because there's nothing to pressure survivors right now into starting the in-game collapse, which, as I say, only benefits the killer, because they can 99 the levers. So if the in-game collapse literally just starts when the fifth generator is activated, people are going to be rushing for those doors. The killer's going to be rushing. Everybody's just going to want to get the hell out of the match. And you might say, well, that's really unfair to the survivors because now the killer knows all they have to do is go to the camp the exit gates. The killers, when the thing happens, are probably camping the exit gates anyway. That's one of the when the freaking fifth generator goes. Unless I'm in the middle of hooking someone, I'm going to the nearest exit gate, and I'm going to start going between them to find people. Someone's got to show up at an exit gate, and without the endgame collapse having started already, there's no reason for them not to, do it. And if I down somebody, especially, it's any killer can tell you, if you have 4 healthy survivors and you manage to down one before the exit gates are popped, they're gonna 99 that shit. They're all gonna heal themselves, maybe put some boons out or something, and then the 3 of them are gonna come and they're gonna surround you, and you're not gonna be able to do shit. And that's not gonna work out because it doesn't work out for the killer, but it works out for the survivors because, again, they suffer no threat particularly by doing it unless you run NOED. But now NOED, they can just find the totem and break it. So if you take away the safety net of that, then they got nothing going for them. So that's how that works. So take away the safety net. If they you just throw up the endgame collapse. I was also toying with the notion in the original broadcast, when the part that got cut out, I had discussed that potentially you could see if you were pulling on the lever for the switch, what could happen is it would regress. Basically, you release the switch because you're trying to 99 it. It pops like a generator. And don't tell me it's unrealistic. I mean, when you put the thing down, it goes and fucking sparks fly. So you could release it and have it go and have it pop just as easily. That would notify the killer which gate they're at, so they're not going to want to let go of the fucking exit gate. And it would also regress. And you remember how Hex Ruin, drained the thing at 200%. Well, it takes 40 seconds to power an exit gate. I would have it regress so rapidly that either someone has to stay there pulling the lever over and over again to keep it from fully regressing, or it just goes to 0. If you release it, boom, it goes back to 0, and you got to spend another 40 seconds pulling the lever. And the reasoning for that is very simple. You have to eliminate the 99%ing. That's the best way to ensure the endgame collapse happens at a time when it's going to be used properly. Because that's the thing. The devs, initially designed the game. You're supposed to fix the generators, and it's like I said, watch the bots. They'll show you the way you're supposed to play, the way you're supposed to play. And they will fix the last generator, and they go to the exit gates, and they power the exit gates, and they leave. They don't mess around, so they don't 99. No bot has ever 99%ed a exit gate to go run around in the map and unhook people or anything. They pull that lever, and unless the killer shows up to chase them away from the exit gate, they're going to open it all the way and start the endgame collapse. And that's why I kind of gravitated more towards what I started with rather than having the thing fluctuate up or down. Just very simply start the endgame collapse on the 5th generator. Make the timer longer to compensate, because as I was saying before, I had to call my wife real quick there. What you would want to do is you would want to have it so that if there's only 2 survivors left, for example, and we're fixing the generator in the center of the map and the exit gates where Coldwind Farm, the exit gate is way the hell over there. It's going to take you a certain amount of time to get there. Maybe you're playing Trapper and he's putting booby traps on the exit gates. You have to have time to deal with all of that as well. Because like I said, I'm not going to try to do anything that's so biased. You have to see it from a survivor perspective and try to problem solve ways that it could be exploited, by a killer too. And so that's the thing, is make the endgame collapse a little bit longer, but it definitely starts the second the 5th generator lights. That way, there's no problems with 90. You will never have another reason to 99% a exit gate again. You can literally throw it open, have all your exit gates open, everything's fine, and Now, if you want to go and make a daring rescue, you can still have a chance to go make a daring rescue. But it's going to be a lot more hazardous because your timer could potentially already be halfway down. So it's, that's the thing. That's what I feel really missing from Dead by Daylight as far as these sorts of things go, is the ability to apply pressure in the end game for a killer. If you haven't been able to apply a lot of pressure in the match already, like I said, as a killer, we've all been there. They pop all their gens and you haven't killed a single person. Maybe you've only got 2 hooks, but they just get away. They're a really good team, whatever the reason. At that point, you want the end game to start sooner so that you can get pressure on the survivors again. They have to be more afraid of you at the last moments of the game than they are at any other point. And it's actually, ironically, the opposite, where once the 5th generator pops, for the most part, most survivors are not even remotely bothered by the killer at that point. Because there's more to favor a survivor once the 5th generator pops. Aside from Noed, there is more to favor a survivor at that moment than there is the killer. So we need to shift that balance back and make it even, a lot more even. And it should definitely be in the killer's favor to be on the map during the endgame collapse. You should be terrified of the killer at that point, and nobody is. So that's what you have to do. Doing that, like I said, people aren't going to risk staying to teabag if the killer comes near the frickin' exit gate, and that shit, like I said, the spikes pop up that prevent the killer from leaving, also prevent the survivors from leaving. Nobody's gonna chance it. If I'm at an exit gate and I pop that shit and he hooks you across the map and I know he's coming because I can see him, if I'm the only one on the map and I'm already injured, I'm not gonna screw around. I'm just gonna leave. Like you take away the ability to cause a problem. And even if likewise I'm I'm at the exit gate with 3 friends and you hook one of our friends, maybe the endgame collapses only halfway. We seriously have to question whether going back is worth it, because what if we do get him, but only one exit gate is open? We have to retreat back to that doorway, and the killer will be on our ass, and then we won't be able to because it'll be blocked. Those are the types of questions people should ask. Be afraid of the killer. That's to me kind of the biggest downfall of the end game. Even when I play as killer, and I've had it. It can go both ways as killer. You could have it where you've killed 2 people, you're chasing your 3rd one, you down them, the 5th gen just got fixed, that survivor's going for an exit gate, you throw this person on a hook, and now you start checking exit gates, right? But the time it takes you, the person could be gone, right? Or likewise, it could be the other way around, where, again, you've had a bad run as a killer for this match, and everybody's alive and everybody's healthy, and the 5th gen pops. You just want to get the pressure on them, but you can't. At that point, if you haven't killed or even seriously injured the 4 survivors by the time the endgame collapse starts, you're not going to get anything, right? But the survivors know it, you know it, and it just doesn't make sense because, as I've said, look at the movies. The killers are always more dangerous in the last moments of the movie before it ends than they are at the beginning. So it makes no sense to me that the killers are literally completely all but disarmed at the end of a match. And yeah, I know what I'm suggesting will remove slug racing, because it's fun. I've slug raced, we down survivors, and then the 4 of them crawl for the exit gate, and it's fun to do that. And I know what I'm suggesting would stop that from happening, but it's still slug races, they're fun, they're cute, but they aren't furthering the game either. So this is how we progress that and keep that going. So, yeah, that's how I would tweak that crap. Now, I also suggested that maybe, if people are in the exit gate area, they can't escape, and if they get down, they would die instantly. You can add that in there. Also, toying with the NOED. People want to make Unbreakable a base kit thing where everybody, that's the one they're doing, right? Well, okay. If Unbreakable is going to be base kit, why can't NOED be base kit for the end game? It just makes sense to me that, if people can always be able to get up, you should just always be able to put people down at the very end. That would just make more sense to me, especially with them also wanting to nerf the Mori system. That's something that can come up a lot in an end. That's why I hate that idea. I could knock somebody down and have it be in the exit gate area, but I could Mori them in the spot if I can't get them to a hook and still get that kill, as opposed to having to carry them. By changing the Mori system, we won't be able to do that anymore, and you're going to actually lose another kill that way. But that's why I just say, make NOED base kit, and you can't break the totem and get rid of it. It's just, if the killer finds you, you'll go down in one hit and he'll kill you. That just makes more sense to me, because again, you should be afraid of the killer more than anything. So that was that. So anyways, wrapping it all up. Again, the other presentation was, like 4 or 5 days ago. And I decided to just do it this way, because to me it just makes more sense to do it here than to and risk the thing crashing on me again, because I know I can broadcast it here without those problems. So that's why I did it this way. I hope y'all liked my ideas, and like I said, you can call me crazy. That's perfectly fine. Just look at my ideas from a not an unbiased perspective. Look at them from the survivor. It doesn't matter if you're only a killer main and you've never played a survivor. Look at the problems from a survivor's point of view, and if you can do that, then come up with reasons as to why the suggestions to improve their gameplay could work, and likewise, look at the ways that the killer suggestions I've made that maybe negatively affect a killer could be improved to still be used, but, work in a better function. So I think these are all really interesting ideas. I've had all of them for quite a while, and I just wanted to share them. So, take it however you want. My first half of this recording is on YouTube right now, and I'm recording this one, and it's going to be uploaded to YouTube after I'm done. But the thing is this will be on Twitch first, obviously. Then I'm going to upload it to YouTube. But I do have a YouTube channel, so if you've been watching any of my stuff, you know that you can you can watch my first portion there, and then you can pick up with this second half here. I tried to keep it as tightly close together because I cut off literally mid-word, mouthing a word in the first half. It really annoyed me. So I kind of watched that last portion before I started this, got it going, and now we're going into the second half. Have this in the bag now. I can sign it off now. You can watch both parts together. You can like or dislike or agree, disagree. If you're feeling friendly, feel free to follow me on Twitch. I do streaming pretty much every day. I'm going to do another stream tonight, probably in about 5 hours. I'm going to start Castlevania 3. I recently did Castlevania 1, and then I had actually a lot of streams day before yesterday. I streamed, I think it was Castlevania first, then I did some Dead by Daylight, and then I think I went back and I did the second Castlevania, then I did Among Us. Then I started Castlevania 2, and I got so far into it, I was like, I might as well just finish it, and I did. So I did a full playthrough of Castlevania 2, which was 4 hours, compared to the first game, which was an hour. And now I'm going to do Castlevania 3, which is one I've been really looking forward to. So Castlevania 3 is awesome. If you're familiar with the Castlevania franchise, Alucard makes his first appearance in here. So yay for that. That's awesome. So there's going to be some fun with that tonight, because like I said, I think because I used to rent my old games for Nintendo and everything on Fridays, because it was a weekend and I was out of school, that's why I think I want to do retro gaming on Friday nights, because that's the way it would have worked for me when I was a kid. So I figure that's a cool way to sort of do this. If there's a major thing happening in a game, like a major event or something happening, then, to counter that, we might change it up a bit. But I think Fridays is going to be the retro gaming night for sure. At least as far as Castlevania is concerned, I still have Castlevania 3 and 4 to go through. Once those are done, then I do want to do my other retro games. Like I said, I'd like to get to Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill, 1 and 2, because I never finished 2. So that would be an interesting one to actually complete the story on. But yeah, Silent Hill 1 and 2 are some games I want to do. I want to go through my whole NES library. I have lots of original Nintendo games, which will be a lot of fun to stream. I got a lot of retro gaming stuff that I can share and play and do with people. So I hope you all look forward to that. I certainly am. Yeah, so follow me on Twitch if you like my stuff or you want to see something else. I do have some other games. I have to finish Callisto Protocol. I'm almost done that one. Then I have, they're all sitting over there. Then underneath that is The Quarry. So as soon as Callisto Protocol is done, which shouldn't, I keep saying I'm going to do it right away and I just keep getting too busy, but I am going to finish Callisto Protocol. Once that was done, then I have The Quarry, which is going to be a really fun one, I think. And I'm going to play through The Quarry at least once, because I know that you can get multiple endings and whatever, I think. But I'm going to play through The Quarry at least once. And then the Dead Space remake was released today. I just picked it up, and I've got it over there. It's on the bottom of the pile, because, got to do them in the order I've got them. So then I'm going to play the Dead Space remake. I played the original on the original Xbox 360, but I never got really into it because I borrowed it from my brother, and then I ended up giving it back to him before I could, really get into it. But it's a big one, so I'm going to go for that, and then we're going to take care of that. Then, after that, it's going to be pretty much a free game. I'm going to get some more Ark. I'm going to always be doing Dead by Daylight as often as I can. So there's lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to cover. So look forward to seeing anybody follow me. I got some more followers. I think I'm up to 31 now, which is awesome. Thanks to everybody who's followed me recently. I hope I put out content you all enjoy. I do have a Discord, which if you look at my first portion of this video, I actually added my YouTube and my Discord to the bottom of it. My YouTube is just Bot Whisperer. You can find me on there. You'll find all my streams and everything is uploaded on there, as well as matches from before I was a streamer. No audio of me talking, but you can hear all the gameplay and stuff. So you can check all that out. There's a lot on my channel, so please do check out my YouTube. After you check out my YouTube, I do have a Discord, again, botwhisper1_TTV, and then it's hashtag 9572. For some reason, people are having a hard time clicking and joining my thing. Hello, be right up. So people are having a hard time joining it, but I'll figure all that out in the near future. But you can always message me here or whatever, and we can figure everything out. I do have company arriving because I have a meeting I have to go to, but I want to just shoot this out before that happens. So here we go. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for following, and I will see you all next broadcast.